Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about my back injury. Because it's been long enough to where I can talk about it in a way that the chiropractic doctors can't talk about, and but we're going to have to talk about the brain too. Because see, in chiropractic care and excuse me, in the average person's mind, let's just think about it. You know, their impression is that it's just the back. You know what I'm saying? It's just your back. So it has it. They don't know like anything else as far as you see these vertebrae right here. Like it's very important. I'm gonna use one of these little charts, and I'm sure you've got one in your office. You see this right here? Okay, like posture. Posture is something very important. Okay, I think that most chiropractors, I'd say hopefully 100% of them will say posture is the most important thing that needs to be taught at a young age. Because without proper posture, what happens? What happens? We have shit like this happen. See this? See this right here? And see, a lot of y'all go to these chiropractors. And you know, you spend whatever insurance, and I mean, I'm gonna be truthful with you. You need to do an X-ray, but it wouldn't be hard, not even for the doctors, to look at you and tell you that this is what's wrong with you. And see, when this is out of whack, like Joe Pesci, when he says, "Ma'am, over the years, as your eyes got more and more out of whack." So over the years, as the spine, whether it's my injury, which was a pinched nerve, which should be more down there, and me not addressing that problem, which I'll have to go more into it, through the weights and things like that, is no different than an injury, which would be like a lifetime injury. You understand? And that would be sitting down and creating, you know, what's the names that they have? You've got, well, scoliosis, lordosis, scaphosis, whatever. Exaggerated thoracic curvature, exaggerated lumbar curvature. And see, here's the thing is, I'm pretty sure that most chiropractors, because there are real doctors, that if you're all fucked up like this right here, they want you to come in because, see, it's a challenge to them. But they've got to sell you that, listen, you've got to go through certain things. You've got to be adjusted. You've got to go through decompression. You've got to do certain things. Now, the industry has added some shit which I don't like, because it's, see, when you do shots, or not shots, but when you numb something or burn the muscle to kill the pain, you're not fucking helping it. You understand? It's not all the way natural when you're bringing in shit from Big Pharma. That's them putting their foot in the doorway. So, in order for me to get to here, it takes a long process. Let me see. This is vertebral fractures. Let's see. I'm trying to look for mine. No, I can't remember which chart it is, but it doesn't matter. A pinched nerve. That means the nerve's getting pinched. And see, if you talk to some of these old men, you know, they're like, yeah, I can't just drive. I'll get my car and I can't get comfortable for too long. Well, it's because of a pinched nerve. And see, what the problem is see, the problem is in here, you understand? A pinched nerve with mine was down in here. I'm not going to get into all the terms. So what that means is all this right here in my lifetime, okay, of lifting and fucking doing inflatables and not really lifting though a lot. Think about how much, if you're a bodybuilder, how much weight that you put on that. And if you never get it adjusted, then what it does is all these tissues and cells and all this shit down through here, it sort of grows together. You understand? So instead of getting adjusted to where all this stays the way it is and the flow is proper, what we do is we grow into this fucking injury that's taken a long time to get to there. And then what we do in our fault is we go to these chiropractors and think they can fucking fix what took 20 years to do. Man, it didn't work. I went 2 times. It didn't fucking do nothing to me, man. And it's like, okay, but I'm gonna show you some humility. Back in the day when you're younger, I mean, shit, y'all, some of y'all watching this, we fucking had chiropractor around us, good buddy. I mean, that's why the only reason some people are healthy right now. They could live a lifetime of shit, but those adjustments early in life unlocked certain fluids to the brain that would have never fucking been unlocked if they had never been adjusted. And see, that's the whole thing is all this it's a big circuit board. And I'm going to read some shit here in a minute. So, you know, they make fun of the parties that we had, but do you realize when you're adjusting, doesn't matter whoever. Most of us don't live the lifestyle to where we exert ourselves and we move our anatomies. We don't. We might in some ways, but it hurts it. Like working and shit like that. We're supposed to be here for other reasons, but when this is adjusted and this is the right alignment, then the fluids running up to here is going to make you run better, feel better, and see better, and fuck everything else. So if we live a life for a long time of crushing, do you understand? Go look at the sacral plexus model next time you're at the chiropractor, which would be down here. Just look at it. Okay? And then you need to think about that sitting on a couch. And think about what yours looks like. Because my whole point is when you do decompression, people can try to do it on their own, but they, you know, I mean, if I had somebody just like me, I wouldn't need it. You understand? But you don't get that. But the whole thing is this. See, now we're interfering with the shot industry, okay, that goes in to there, an epidural, and puts in a fluid that only covers up the fucking problem. It's not going nowhere. So if we cut a piece of paper in half, all right, if you sent what the fuck is wrong with me? All right. Okay, we got 2 Matt Childs. A pinched nerve. Okay, so we're going to do 2 things. Okay, we're going to go to the chiropractor twice. It's not going to work. And then we're going to go get a shot. It's going to cover up the pain. But remember, this right here is not getting It's not, decompression just means stretched out. Don't use that word no more. You need to tell your patients, look, we're just going to stretch it out. That's it. You know, it'll feel good. I'll pass out when I'm in there getting it. So, I mean, some people are like, oh, no, I'm not getting that. Well, then stay fucked up. So, what you have is this. Okay, if you can, and I'm just using this as an example, this is going to take 25 to 30 adjustments, 20 decompressions, and we'll just give that number. So we'll say, 25 adjustments, you're going to have 5. We'll say 3 before you start the decompression, and then 2 coming down, and then you'll have maintenance, which over here you just go get the shot. The problem's still there. Over the course of months, this is being stretched out. So what's happening is this. With me and my salts, all this fluid and this oil right here, see, when you breathe in your diaphragm, okay, there's oil here when you breathe in, okay, and then you breathe out. Each time your syringe comes from this and heat rises, the thermometer and all that shit. So each breath is going to come up and out, the oil. So if you cover the mouth up, the oil can't get up in there. So if you're all fucked up, still getting shots, now you got that fluid in you, now you don't get nothing, it's just still crunched up, and you wear a mask off. Now there's nothing in the brain. You won't even go to a chiropractor, you're so scared. That's what I'm saying. When you block the highway to the brain of what's in here, because what you eat has to come here. Combustion chamber breaks it down, combined with the air, and then it turns it into the blood, and then that fluid in return runs up into the brain, into the thalamus, into the claustrum, claustrum, and then it comes out of the claustrum, one part in the pituitary, one in the pineal. Positive and negative, yellow and white-like substance, and then they come out and cross at the base of the skull. And when 2 wires cross, positive and negative, it creates what? More power. So what you're dealing with is an epidemic with y'all, not me. And see, I can speak like this because I have the power. Because I'm nobody. I'm in a ditch. But that's the thing is people can't understand that. When we're looking at spinal and cranial nerves, okay, you're going to have 12 cranial nerves. The 12 dorsal vertebrae are more important than anything. Okay, the lunar ganglia, which we'll go over here in a minute. But now I want you to look at this. Spinal cord segments right here. And we're just going to look at all these. This is your battery, like I've said. Okay? So when you have all these nerves in you, and you're constantly sitting there, you are blocking the highway to the rest of your anatomy. And then you cover it up here. Do you need to fucking do the right thing? And then you go get... You understand? So the only good profession that we really have left is what I'm talking about. So with my experience of giving this literally 8 fucking months, that's what I'm saying. Now some people can't, and I understand that. But some things, if it's your well-being, you can't put a price on it. Like, especially when you know that you can do this, and literally, I feel like I'm 21 again, literally way beyond 21. So if this is going to take 8 months to get great results, this is going to take 1 day to get short-term results. This unlocks the whole anatomy. This keeps it there. This individual dies out. God forbid, the way things are going now, these individuals like me will be shunned and put out in front of people in Coliseums, rooting us on. Get him out of here. He's so fucking right. We just want to be stupid. So now, with that being said, with that little bit being said, I can't really go into too much. Let me see. Where was I at? All right. Okay, the fluid oil or marrow which flows down the spinal cord comes from the upper brain. So it comes from up here. All right. And when this oil is refined, transmuted, lifted up, raised, it becomes so highly vitalized that it regenerates the body. And see, just with that little bit being said, if we pull back up our charts, okay, and we talk about the diaphragm and how when you breathe in and out, this oil goes up and down, and now we've got this and how it's going to be lighting the whole house. Now you can understand why chiros are going to be getting a bad rap, but not when you got a video like this coming, blasting them. But what we're going to do is talk about the pneumogastric nerve rising in the floor of the fourth ventricle of the head and connected with the cerebellum, crosses the spinal cord at the base of the skull and sends numerous branches to throat, lungs, heart, and stomach, terminating in a plexus under the latter organ, which is named the androgynous brain, the stomach brain, or solar plexus. This wonderful nerve has 6 different physical functions in addition to the deeply hidden channel of what Matt Childs is talking about. I added that. All right. In the central part of the head is called the thalamus. Sante's anatomy of the brain and spinal cord describes it as thus. Quote, it is the great ganglion of the interbrain. The thalamus is an important sensory relay station. Its medial part is concerned with smell and its lateral part with the common sensation and taste. According to Head and Holmes, this is old book, it is also an organ of consciousness for impulses of pain and temperature. The third ventricle separates the thalami from each other, except at the midpoint where they are joined by the massa intermedia. It's funny how you got media feeding that and programming it. The thalamus is situated behind the medial to the corpus striatum and projects backward over the midbrain. Laterally, it rests against the superior lamina of the internal capsule, which separated it from the lentiform nucleus. The thalamus is shaped like an egg with the small end directed forward. It measures 4 centimeters or about 1.5 inches in length and 2.5 centimeters of 1 inch in width and thickness. It has an interior and posterior extremity and 4 surfaces: superior, inferior, medial, and lateral. Unquote. The most striking statement is the above paragraph is that the thalamus is egg-shaped, and we can readily see why there is so much reference made in ancient lore to the egg when it comes to creation. All right. It says, on the posterior side of the thalamus, we find the pineal body. It is a cone shape, and I'm reading this because if these practices could only tell you what you're unlocking coming here. Instead, you can just stay on a couch and keep wondering why that's happening, because you're not active and you don't exert yourself. You don't know who you are. So let's continue. It says, on the posterior side of the thalamus, we find the pineal body. Okay. It is a cone-shaped body, 6 millimeters, 0.25 inches high, and 4 millimeters, 0.17 inches in diameter, joined to the roof of the third ventricle by a flattened stalk, the habenula. Is that how you pronounce it? Sante tells us that quote, the interior of the pineal body is made up of closed follicles surrounded by ingrowths of connective tissue. The follicles are filled with epithelial cells mixed with lime matter, the brain sand, cerebri. Calcareous deposits are found also on the pineal stalk and along the choroid plexuses. The function of the pineal body is unknown. Descartes, I can't read that. That is a bot. I can't read that. All right. The reason why I'm telling you that right there is, okay, it's very important to know, like, dimensions, what is this? What is that? What am I eating? What is going to produce my brain to work better? Okay? And I just wanted to give you some, a little read on that right there. And then, because we've got to talk about what you call, what is it? Hang on. Oh, yeah. Spinal ganglion and spinal nerve. That's it. It says connected with the pineal gland is a nerve called the pingala in secret writings. This nerve crosses the spinal cord at the base of the skull in the medulla oblongata and follows down the right side of the spinal cord to its end. Likewise, connected with the pituitary body is the nerve ida, which crosses the spinal cord at the same place where the pingala crosses. Follows down the left side of the spinal cord to its base. Here the two nerves converge into the body through the semilunar ganglia. So there's a cross section of your cervical spine right here. So right there's spinal ganglia. So that's your pingala and your ida, which would which brings us up to this. Okay, see, this is the whole thing. This is each one of your eyes right here. So this is the two nerves running up and down your spinal cord. This is your iris. So, and what I'm going to do is see, this is something that y'all don't have, because see, all this goes with this. This is the circuit board, and all this shows when there's something wrong with an organ or something like that. Okay? Hang on. Oh, man. See this? See, that's what y'all don't have in that industry, is this. So, that's what we're saying. And see, when you show y'all this, you just push it to the side, because it's not in the universities. And then here it is from the dumbest fucking person on earth giving it to you, who looks fucking 30 years old. Don't I? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, give yourself a high five. But, see, that's the whole thing is this go together. So I don't want to keep you going anymore, like with too much, because most people will disregard this. And see, that's the whole thing is Now, 8 years ago, I couldn't tell you any of this, but once I found out that I had a pinched nerve, I could see my spine. I could see it all. I saw the injury inside of me. And you'll never understand what I'm saying. It was already given. The answer told me you've got to give it time, combine what you know with what they have, and then in time do a video. And I said I would do a video. But this is a little beyond just me going, yeah, this is it. This is what makes the difference between me and the rest of the world. See, I don't get paid for knowing who I am. And the thing is if you know somebody fucked up with some kind of weird shit back, they're not going to listen to this. Do not go show them this or nothing. Don't even tell them, look, you're blocking the oil on your spine from going to your head and thinking. That's why it's so easy. I know y'all are like, how are these people this fucking ignorant? And it's like, well, none of them got anything going to their brain. They're just all sitting there drinking Starbucks and snacks and fucking turning into demons, man. Hell yeah. I mean, it's not hard to see it. It's not. But I mean, it's like, that's what's so hard on me is trying to explain to you in the easiest way possible that you're a battery. I mean, it's like very, 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 very important. Because when doing this, I was the one in all those rehabs and detoxes and shit. I had to go through that. My higher power, God, had to see all that through my eyes to experience through me what this fucking world is and what they have done. And I've been granted power, unseen power, and knowledge that's not even real. That's the whole thing is. And I'm not coming at y'all. There's no degrees behind me. There's 360 around me, which comes to the zodiac, because that's what I represent. I represent the imprint that you see up there every night that's never changing, ever, ever, ever. And I represent nature. Everything out there that you see is in me. And it's in you as well. They're batteries. We're all batteries. How the fuck you think you run? I would have like alkaline water in my practice. I would fucking destroy the whole city Jesuit thing overnight. They would literally take me out because they want you dumb. And eventually they're going to have all these fucking Jesuits, they'll flush you out if you're a good chiropractor. Because they'll bring the ones in that are going to pump their product through. The days of, everything in a pharmacy is sitting there waiting. Isn't that kind of a trick? It's waiting on you. Well, if all of y'all was like me, guess what would happen to those structures? They would crumble overnight. And y'all know it too, and you can't put nothing out there that says, what you're literally drinking and eating is turning into the fluid, and you've blocked it. You won't even get adjusted, because we can tell you this, that most children, by the time they're 18, have posture problems that are beyond fixing, and that means that's business, that's product. That's going to be lifetime dependent on a system that's going to take careers and all kinds of shit. And so you can come at me and go, Matt, they're making $200,000. No shit. So, but I had to give it time because, in the beginning of all of it, God said, look, I'm going to give you a vision. But you've got to put the work in. Instead of wanting that instant fix, it's not fucking crazy. And in order to, if you're terrified, and I know most of you are thinking that all that shit out there, you're going to catch something is real, it's not. Okay? If if you could only see what you're doing when you cover your fucking mouth up to your lungs, your oil in you, there's nothing in there. It is dehydrated and it's shit. And see, that's where they get you. Is when they empty out all this before you even fucking born and replace it with, let's get the child back before they come into the world. Well, they were replacing the fluids in the baby. And truthfully, the end result is they're taking the soul. And it's been over. Before this, it was they stamped the baby's soul of the feet on pieces of paper. So that means that piece of paper is your existence. Not under God, under that. My existence is up there. See, and we could get into some really deep shit, but we don't need to do that. So, love you.